here we go. Starting things off is the I know how you're supposed to pronounce it, but I'm going to call it a Faggio. Basically, it's a old school Vespa, or at least the GTA equivalent of it. This is the custom version, just because it's got more options. I've got a regular version on my secondary character. We'll get to that at another point. But yeah. Um, from there, we move to the BF Surfer with this is just the standard version. I've got the custom version over there. The standard version here is it's got a few enough different things about it that I felt it warranted including them both. Can't really tell how pretty the color scheme is in this light, which is sad because it's got man, I wish I could share that with you. It's got such a pretty color. All right. Then we got Trevor's truck, the Canis Bodie. Uh, this is based on the military vehicle that was popular with the French Foreign Legion, especially in places like Algiers and Tunisia, basically North Africa. Um, it was made famous when Patrick Stewart drove the real life version in the movie Point Break. I wish we could get a clean version, but I say that about all the rusted beater cars. Um, but yeah, that's as good as I could make it look. Next, we've got the Bifta, which I don't know. I look at this car and I think of two things. I think of the old cartoon Speed Buggy, and I think of uh, a James Bond movie uh, where they're getting chased on the dunes, the sand dunes of a beach, by a group driving these. I believe that's For Your Eyes Only again. Yeah. And then lastly, we've got the Surfer Custom, which, like I said, it looks different enough. There's enough different options that come as standard that it looks like a different vehicle. Plus, it's just so freaking pretty that I had to have both. It's got that cool wooden roof. Again, I don't know how historically accurate that is, but it looks bitchin', and I love me a bitchin' van. Lastly, we've got the S key here. Um, just an old school cafe racer. Not really sure why they called them cafe racers. I guess they raced from one cafe to the next or something. I don't know. It's a European thing. Um, Moving up to the second floor, we've got the early 60s sports cars. Got two different versions of the Corvette, two different versions of basically the same body style of Corvette. Um, I think it's kind of weird to have these. They do that with a couple of vehicles. They do that with the Camaro and like the 70s Camaro body style. You've got both the Nightshade and the Phoenix, and here we've got the Coquette Blackfin and the D1. Yeah, you know, it's always good to have a little red Corvette, though. Um, Got the Lampadati Casco, which is an old school Maserati. I forget the precise model name, but it looks cool. When I first got this, it was topless. It was basically a convertible due to some glitch when you bought it that took the roof off. Then Rockstar later just came and forced roofs on everybody's. Um, what's funny is it'll occasionally show up in the car meet, and it won't have the roof. But if you buy it, it of course puts the roof back on it. It's kind of it's I've done that twice now. Wasted my money buying it just to find out the roof is forced on there. Then we've got the Declass Mamba, which is of course the original Shelby Cobra. Now this paint style is in no way authentic, but I think it looks badass on this car. The Shelby Cobra was just, for the time, it was probably the most gorgeous sports car on the planet. Uh, then we've got the Sterling GT. Now I know it's supposed to be a Benz of some type, but I've never really figured out which one. I do know that I love the way the engine sounds, and when I'm driving it, it looks like I'm driving a Tylenol capsule with wheels. But it's cool. I love this car. We got the GT500, which is an old school Ferrari. I've got it in red, so it looks like a red Barchetta. If you're a fan of Rush, you'll know that they have a song called Red Barchetta where they mispronounce it, but it sounds cooler. Yeah, I like to drive this around while listening to that song. And finally, we have the JB700, which is, of course, the Aston Martin DB5. It's a thing of beauty. This is the 700W version, which is the version you can have like working guns and whatnot. It's funny because I actually took the guns off of it because I think it looks silly with just guns always sitting there. So it's the version that the guns will shoot, but I took the guns off because that's just the way it works. I wish they'd pop up and down like they do in Goldfinger. But they don't, so they had to go. But yeah, authentic to Bond. It's in gunmetal gray. Um, yeah, you gotta love this car. All right, and lastly, to finish off the CEO building, third floor, we have 60s supercars, the beginning of the supercar era. Now, the first car in here is, what are they calling this? The Scramjet, which anybody who's ever seen it knows this is based off the Mach 5 from Speed Racer. I didn't make it look anything like that, but I did include it in this garage because I didn't know where else to put it. I did love this car all through my childhood. Next to it, we've got another little red Ferrari, the Grotti Stinger. What's funny is this car, this model of this Ferrari, was actually, the real life version was seen in one of the Herbie movies as like Herbie's love interest. I don't know why, that always tickles me. Then we have the Coquette Classic. Now, my dad had one of these Corvettes, a 64, and it was gorgeous. It was almost this color of blue. And his wasn't a convertible. His had the big bulbous back end. But I like the convertible look, so that's what we went with. It's a gorgeous car. Yeah. All right, next to it, we've got another, like the race car version of the Ferrari, the Stinger GT. There's not much too special about it. I like the color that I've got on it. Those are just standard non-modded colors. They just look, it's a good color mix there with the pearlescent. Here we have the Ocelot Swinger, which, you know, I love a Jaguar, but I don't like this version. And the reason I don't like it is because I can't tell if it's coming or going. Like the back end looks like the front end of a car. The front end, I can't tell if it's coming or going. There are several other Jaguar models that I would have preferred them choosing. This is a weird one. It's a pretty enough car. I just don't care for it. I get confused when I look at it. Uh, then we have the Monroe, which is based on the first Lamborghini, the Lamborghini Miura. Well, the first non-tractor Lamborghini. It is. It was about as pretty as a car as you could get in the 60s. Um, yeah. There's a guy here in my town who has one, but it's all beat up and it's up on cinder blocks, and I can't. I don't know. I shake my fist at it whenever I see it for allowing such a work of art to be so misused and abused. And lastly, we have the Toreador, the version that I keep in this garage, which is based on a Lamborghini prototype car. The original, the true car is only a two-door, but otherwise it looks pretty much dead on. Um, it's a very pretty car that would have never passed any safety standards anywhere in the world. And that takes care of all the classic cars that you can own in the game from the 1920s up through basically 1965. Next, we'll be moving to my nightclub where I keep muscle cars from 1965 to 1975. I will see you then.